What's happening, tabletop gamers? My name is LeunameGames and welcome back to LeunameGames. Today we're going to learn how to play the 2 to 4 player worker placement game Harbour by Scott Almes and published by Tasty Minstrel Games. Harbour takes place in the busy port of Bottom, a place perfect for ambitious entrepreneurs, which you are. And it's your job to collect and exchange goods and manipulate the market in order to sell your goods at the right time to buy the best property in order to be declared the Harbour Master. Let's get to the table and let's see what's in the box. To set up the game, give each player who's playing the game one of these meeples and then set the market out in the center of the playing area. Keep in mind though, this market is actually double-sided. This one side here has the Inland Traders mini expansion. This is recommended to only be used if you're playing with 3 to 4 players. If you want to use it, you can just simply set it up with that side facing up. If you don't want to use it for any reason, make sure you set it with the Inland Trader side face down. Then shuffle this deck of building cards and basically just flip over 1 per player plus 3. I am setting up here for a 4-player game, so that means there should be 7 buildings to start. Any extras you can just set aside for now. They'll come up later in the game. There's a couple things you'll need to know about each of these cards. In the top left corner here, there is a certain amount of points that these are all worth. In the top right is a certain amount of money that you're going to need in order to buy these buildings. In here, this is the effect of the building when you were to place your worker on there. And here is a special icon that can provide you bonuses of various types. There are 4 types of icons within the game. I'm not going to explain every single one of them in this tutorial, but I will show little screenshots up here that will show you what each of the various icons do. Once you've dealt out all the buildings, everyone is going to need to decide whether you want to play with or without characters. There are a bunch of character cards that are included with the game. They are double-sided. One shows a character. The characters have a little warehouse to store all their goods, a special ability, one of the 4 symbols that I had talked about earlier, and a special building that they start with. On the other side is a similar thing called the wharves. However, this one just has a warehouse, a starting symbol, which is always an anchor, and a starting building. They do not have any special abilities. So if you want to play with just the wharves, you basically just deal one of these out to each player. If you want to play with characters, shuffle this, then deal 2 to each player. They'll look at them in secret, pick which one of them they want to play as, and then return the other one back to the stack. Next, what you're going to do is take one of each of the various goods that you're going to be getting over the course of the game, the stone, wood, livestock, and fish, shuffle them up, and randomly deal each one of them to the market space. This is going to represent how much each of them are worth and how much you're going to need to sell at one time in order for them to be worth that much. For example, stone is worth $2 if you sell at least 2 of them, while fish is worth $5, but you have to sell 5 at a time. I'll explain what this does when we get to the buying a building step. Finally, give each player one of the same tokens and have each player decide what tokens, or what goods rather, that they want to start with. You can start with a maximum total of 3, but you can do it in any of the following combinations. You can do it either maybe 3 of one type, or 2 of one type and 1 of another type, or you could start with 3 of, or 1 rather, of 3 different types. There is an optional rule for setup that you don't have to do, where you have these different bonus cards. These are basically an extra way to earn points in the game for collecting a set of good. Basically, what you just do is you just shuffle it up and then deal 1 to each player. Once you have done everything that's been previously stated, you are ready to begin. On your turn, you must move your pawn to an empty building and carry out that building's action entirely to the best of your ability. Now, the buildings that you can go to can either be ones that you own, ones that are out in the playing area, or ones that other players own. But if you do want to use something that someone else owns, you must pay them a toll. I'll get to that a little bit later. Regardless, when you place your pawn on a building, you must carry out that action as full as you can, and nobody else can go to that building until you leave. Most of these buildings are involved just simply gaining goods, converting goods, buying buildings, or performing some special action. For example, the building I just went to here, the butcher, means that I need to lose a livestock, but I gain a fish, a wood, and a stone. When you gain or lose a good, you immediately track how many of each type that you have on your warehouse down here. You can never have more than 6 of each type of good, and you can never fall below 0. You are allowed to take actions that allow you to go above 6 goods, but any extras that you gain are wasted. But you cannot take an action that would allow you to go below 0 goods. You may notice that there are some cards, like this one here, that have 2 separate actions. These are not dependent on each other, so that if you were to go here, you can perform one action and not the other, or both, but you have to do both if you are able to. For example, what I mean by this is, if I were to put this here, I could choose to get a stone and buy a building. I could do this in any order I want to, and I could do one and not the other. But if I am able to get a stone and buy a building, I have to do both of them. I am, however, able to go to a spot if I can only do one of these actions. For example, if I had, say, 6 stone, I could still go here to buy a building. I just wouldn't be able to get the stone. Or I could go here to get a stone even if I didn't have enough to buy a building. Speaking of buying a building, your starting building always has an opportunity for you to buy one. There's also a couple cards within the deck, like the one I just showed you, that also lets you buy one. If you want to buy a building, you must place your pawn in a spot that allows you to buy a building. To buy a building, you must ship goods first to pay for it. Doing this is the only time you are allowed to ship goods unless otherwise specified. And you have to meet the minimum requirements for shipping them on the market board. For example, livestock is on this 3 spot here. I would have to have at least 3 livestock in order to successfully ship it. Let's say, for example, I wanted to buy this pub. To do that, I would simply place my person here, and then I basically need to calculate how much I need to ship versus how much the market is. In this example, I have 3 livestock, so I can successfully ship 3 livestock here. Whenever you ship something, you simply take the good tile of that and you just simply slide it straight down. So I have 3 livestock now successfully shipped. I will then move that off. I notice I also have 4 wood, so I can successfully ship 4 wood. I then take this off, slide this down. I now have $7 to buy a building with. I then look at the buildings that are out there and choose which one I want to buy. Let's say, for example, I wanted to buy this lumber yard. Well, I can successfully do this because I have shipped $7 worth of goods. I also have a coin. The coins let you reduce the amount that you need to buy a building by 1 for each coin. Once you buy a building, you place it in your tableau and a new building comes out to replace it. After you finish buying your buildings, the market is going to change. How this works is that the lowest set of goods gets slid all the way up to the next available spot, and then the goods that you've used to pay for it are slid into the appropriate spaces, one after the other, like this. Say in another example, I had spent 5 fish and 3 livestock for a building. When you reset the market, the stone will go up to 5, wood will go up to 4, and the remaining will slide into the next available spot. One thing you must keep in mind, however, if you choose to ship a good to pay for a building, you must ship all of the good. Any extras are wasted. Once you buy a building, it belongs to you now. Other players can still go to that building, But if they want to use a building that you own, they must pay you a toll. When they do that, they basically give you a good of their choice. They will remove that good from their warehouse, and you'll move that good that they've given you up one. One small note, if somebody had their pawn on a building when you bought it, that pawn stays on that building and it just must be moved the next turn as normal. When a player buys their 4th building, so that they would have 5 buildings total, that means each player will continue taking turns until they've reached the starting player who does not take another turn. When that happens, the players will then count up all the points that they've gotten, plus any bonus points from their abilities or from their bonus cards if you want to use their bonus cards, and whoever has the most points is the winner. In the event of a tie, the tied player with the most buildings wins. If still tied, the one with the most resources among the tied players win. If still a tie, the tied players share the win. And that's everything you need to know in order to play Harbour. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. If you want to learn my thoughts on Harbour, or if you want to learn how to play more games, make sure you subscribe to the channel for more tutorials, reviews, and unboxings. Thank you all as always so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.